ho, ho! Hello there! Well, today we have The Not So Wise Man, and it's a Christmas story and by Alan MacDonald, illustrations by Andrew Rowland. And Ashtar was wise, the wisest in the land. So people said. He lived alone in a tall, windswept tower at the top of a hill. People came from far and wide to listen to Ashtar's great learning. They crowded into Ashtar's tower, sitting on the stairs and peering through the door. Ashtar told them about a time to come when a great king would be born. A wise man should be ready, he said, for this child will come from heaven itself. When the last visitor had gone, Ashtar climbed the winding stairs to the top of his tower and gazed up into the sky. As he did every night, the stars shone like a spray of diamonds. Ashtar knew each one and counted them off in his head. Suddenly he stopped. His old heart leaped. There in the midnight blue was a sign he had been waiting for, a new star in the sky. He ran downstairs and threw his scrolls and a clean nightshirt into his bag. A wise man travels light. The star was calling him forward. The king from the heaven was about to be born, and Ashtar longed to see the child for himself. All that night he journeyed following the bright star. He crossed the great mountains and crept by villages sleeping under the pale moon. At last, crossing a plain, he met some travelers dressed in rich silks and furs. "We have come a long way and our camels are tired," they said. "Do you know anywhere we can find water?" You can see the rich dressed travelers. Ashtar put his ear to the ground and listened. Then he stood up and sniffed the wind. "Over that hill you'll find a pool of water where you can rest and drink," he said. The travelers marveled at Ashtar's wisdom. They asked him to join them on their journey. "We too are following a star. Why not come with us?" But Ashtar shook his head. "A wise man travels alone," he said. Eager to be on his way, Ashtar left the travelers and set off on his quiet quest. The next night, Ashtar heard voices calling. 3 shepherds came out of the darkness carrying torches. "What are you looking for?" Ashtar asked them. "One of our sheep," said the shepherds. "It's run away." Ashtar pointed to a tuft of wool caught on a bush. "Follow the trail into the woods. That's where you'll find your sheep." The shepherds found the sheep just as Ashtar had said. They begged him not to stop and warm himself by the fire. Begged him to stop. "The night is cold and the road is long. Stay with us and talk a while. It's not often we meet such a clever man." "Thank you, but I must be on with my journey," said Ashtar. "A wise man has few words to spare." It's that time in the story, huh? Okay. The idea had never occurred to the innkeeper. Oh, we almost missed a page. That's what happens sometimes when you're turning pages. So Ashtar rode on his way, thinking it must be the wind singing so softly over the hills. Before long, he reached a small town where the streets were crowded with people. He knocked at the door of an inn. The innkeeper stuck his head out impatiently. "No room, we're full. How many times do I have to tell people?" Ashtar smiled. A wise man would put a sign on the door. That way he could get some peace. Now the pages are good. The idea had never occurred to the innkeeper. He wrote "no room" on a sign and nailed it to the door. The next people who came to the door didn't knock. They saw the sign and turned away sadly, the man leading his donkey with a pale, weary woman on its back. I don't know if you can see him there. There you go. The innkeeper watched them go and was delighted. He'd get some peace at last. To show Ashtar his thanks, he promised to find him a bed for the night. Past midnight, Ashtar woke up. The stars shone through the window, filling the room with silver light. Ashtar dressed hurriedly and went out. He walked through the still silent streets, searching. Perhaps it was in this very town that the child from heaven would be born. At last, beside a small inn, he came to a ramshackle stable. Ashtar could hear cows lowing inside. Grazing under a tree were a donkey and a flock of sheep. He wondered who could own so many animals. But it was no business of his. He had come looking for a king, and he wasn't foolish enough to think that a poor stable was the place. Sighing deeply, Ashtar turned back and went on his way. The wisest man in all the land was going home, none the wiser. And that's the end of that book. Well, we hope you liked it. It's a very good book. Not so wise man. Well, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Merry Christmas.